Okay, this is my response to intervention page, or RTI for short. This was just a fantastic learning experience, and I love RTI. I think it is something that a lot more schools should be looking at. So I start off with some diagrams that show how the system school-wide would look like. I really particularly like this one because part of RTI, of course, is that if a child is at the Tier 3, they're still receiving that Tier 1 instruction. So it sort of shows it a little bit easier than the old triangle. Anyway, so as we scroll down, this is a lot of my research and readings and reflections I presented as well about the RTI, and that's a picture of me doing that. But ultimately, I really wanted to put it into practice. So I was fortunate enough to have a school willing to sort of launch into an inquiry process with me. So we had a real collaborative team doing this, and we looked at the junior reading in the school. And it was just a great journey, and this is really part of that journey. Once again, there's some more specific research that I needed to do around reading, and particularly phonological awareness that is the number one, I suppose, indicator of later learning difficulties in reading. I also developed an assessment tool because data is so important to RTI, and I developed it based on Wren's A-frame, reading A-frame, but I used the A-frame as a graphic as well. So I just these are a few of the data reflections of the data, I should say, from that assessment. And the green areas are areas that we're okay in. Orange is developing, and pink are the ones that we're really having some problems with. So this is the student A, and 6 months later, so student A. So you can see there are no pink areas, still a few bits here around the decoding that are still developing, but everything else, the intervention has obviously worked really well for this child. So yeah, it was really interesting. And there again, there's another one here, student B. So going down, looking at the types of reading difficulties, and then we looked at how we were going to put this into action. Probably the biggest job was to decide the cut-off points for the tiers and how that flowchart was going to work. So I've included a flowchart that's still in progress because it's a long-term project for me and the school working together. But I've got some footage here from the Tier 1 teaching and Tier 2, and a picture of the Tier 3. I didn't get to video that though. And here's some results. The blue, and the red's the post. So you can see within 8 weeks of Tier 2 intervention, there's some really great results coming through. And then I also was involved in another RTI, working with a school on PB4L. So this was a lot slower because, working at the pace of the ministry, who were the presenter for these workshops, but it was still excellent way and to build my knowledge in both behaviour and learning around the RTI process. So there's some research here, a little bit of the tangibles and rewards in the classroom, which was also really good. And I also looked really closely at the collaboration within the PB4L group, the school team that I was working within, and I did a bit of assessment around that, and there's some information there in a graph about that too. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy this. I really enjoyed it. Was a real journey, and it still is. It's an ongoing journey for me.